Hello, this is Sheryl and Claire. Welcome to neuroTRYvergent, an experiment in living and working without the mask. It's a podcast where we discuss navigating career change and just existing in a world as a neurodivergent human. Each week we pick a topic and talk about the initial thoughts, the pros, the cons, and the balance of each concept. Then we try a 2-week experiment and discuss how it went the following episode. I'm Cheryl. I'm an ADHD adult moving from being a professional nanny to a positive discipline trainer and parent educator slash consultant. Claire is an ADHD adult and a career slash life coach for neurodivergents and anyone who feels systems are not built for them. If you would like to learn more about us, our links are in the description. Hi, Claire.
Hey Cheryl, good to see you.
Good to see you. Um, So, our topic last week were systems, um, and our experiment was talking about listing systems that are working and are or maybe not working for us, and then also perhaps doing like a minimal effort change in that system, right? All right. Um, so I'll hop in first. And um, so I had a very interesting couple weeks with this one. Um, and it kind of just like developed on its own. But it's been something that's I've been working on for a while. And that's talking about the amount I consume. And one of the systems that wasn't working for me was going out to eat. Um, and some of the consuming that I was doing, I mean, I don't spend a lot of money. But it's more about where my money was spent when I do spend it. And so it was really interesting because I, from our improv class, I've been going to a lot more like local theater productions and stuff. Um, and it was just something where I was like, oh, I really like this. And the system that's kind of not working for me is constantly getting my entertainment from a screen and not getting my entertainment from other more like community-based sources. Um, and so I think that's one of the systems that I feel like my entertainment was very isolating in how I did it. And I don't have other things that build community in my life naturally, right? My job is very solo. My hobbies are a lot of times very solo, which is fine because I'm an introvert and it's like, but it was nice to be able to be tangentially part of a community in that way. Um, and then the other systems that seem to be working for me really well are my coloring. I have an anti-fascist coloring book that I've been like obsessed with recently, and it's just been really helping me to like regulate myself and how I'm feeling. And help me to like constantly relink myself, reconnect myself with my values. So I'm remembering what that is. And then I've been listening to Money Game by Ren, part one, two, and three, over and over and over again. I've just been on this kick, and it's just kind of helped me like break through being on the hamster wheel, of like more is more. And it's like, oh, wait a minute, no, it's not. Yeah. So I think that's kind of something that I've kind of noticed that are sometimes these systems are through advertising or cultural norms or whatever given to you and you don't even realize you're spending energy to hold them up. Um, so yeah. So that's how my thing went. It was a long time in the making, but it's a very interesting that things are kind of coming to fruition right now with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love you sharing that focus and that is kind of the direction that this went for
Yeah.
you. That's so
Sure.
cool, and I relate to a ton of it. I kind of went in a little bit of a different direction, but there is a little bit of a theme about systems given to you or systems that maybe I've adopted. Um, I'll say unconsciously, but that's a little bit exaggerated, right?
Yeah.
Um, and so I got really into analyzing, and I've got pages of notes and stuff. I got really into analyzing, kind of like almost like day-to-day routines and how I handle that. Um,
Mhm.
and so I was looking at like the morning routine, my daily work routine. The second week of every month, I have infusions, and so I have a different plan for that week because I'm at the
Yeah.
hospital so much. My after-school routine with my son, how evenings and nights goes, how Saturdays and Sundays go. And I think that the reason that I went this direction is during this time frame, my family was traveling for a lot of it. And so being by myself, I kind of was able to kind of get back to what would I what do I want to actually do in every moment, right? Like not what do I need to do to take care of somebody else or honor an obligation that I have. And there's a decent amount of that too, even when I'm by myself. But that's really where I started looking. And I think the system that I've inherited um, is that you always put everybody else's needs
Mhm.
first, to the extent of forgetting that you even have needs until steam is pouring out of my ears. And so that's really what I was noticing. And then like yeah, and then it's like, oh wait, this is a learning experience for me. To say, okay, yes, like a lot of things about my everyday life feel very heavy, right? Like very suppressing. Um, and just like taking a moment to be like, wait, but this is still my life, and I do actually have more control over this than I feel like I have.
Mhm.
And just kind of like, what are the leverage points? Where are the little places that I can tweak or push on um, to alleviate some of that? And so I have kind of a silly example, but it's the one that's popping to mind right now. So it was this Saturday, and this only happened because I've been doing this work. So this Saturday, um, and I have a little bit of a hard time with change in like routine or change in like transitioning from one thing to the next just by my own mind body existence, like really just struggles with that. And and so my son decided to go over to his friends for a little play date, a little neighbor, and then they decided they were going to come back here instead, that they wanted to be here instead of the other one. And so my husband was out walking the dog, and so they just show up again. And usually, what I would have done was I would have stopped everything I was doing and I would have run down and just been with them and made sure everything was okay and they need stuff and da, 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 da. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try something different. Like they're okay, they're safe, they have plenty to do. And so I just kept myself removed from them and just continued doing what I was doing.
Mhm.
So not very profound, but and then of course, you know, they come and they try and pull me back. That's what I have such a hard time with. Is like is like there was a lot of effort put into getting me to do the old thing.
Hmm.
And I can be nice about it, you know, and I was just nice about it and said, no, you know, you guys are okay. You like, you just have fun. Your friends here. Let's appreciate that, you know.
Hmm.
And then they squabble because kids squabble. But it's like they have the tools. This is something Cheryl was really good at teaching when she was my nanny forever ago. It's
Hmm.
like don't solve even the littlest kids' problems for them. You know, it's something that I like knew, but like she was so good at like demonstrating and you were like, yeah, and just like let them figure it out because that's a learning experience for them and they do have the ability. So that was like just a tiny shift. And I've got like I think I'm gonna keep doing this um for a while because I'm also a systems junkie. Like I love it, but it just like and the amount of calm and the amount of like well-being I felt because I made that little decision
Hmm.
was really big. And yeah, it's really hard for me. Like that simple thing was really hard. So um, yeah, so I appreciate this experiment. Yeah, I really
Awesome.
appreciate it.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah. Um,
Well, I
so
really liked, do you want to chat about it? Or you get to
please,
chat?
yeah,
Yeah.
please.
I really liked what you were saying about again, kind of the inherited system, right? Like the systems that, you know, the beliefs that we hold,
Hmm.
right?
That
Um,
control our actions, right? Like that's
yeah,
what I mean by a system, right? It's like all
yeah,
these
yeah,
things connected. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. And the in positive discipline, there's the iceberg that I love,
Hmm.
where it's like at the top you see the action, right? But
Yeah.
below it is the belief um about the world and about yourself.
Keep going.
Hobie.
I'm just letting Hobie into his Hobie closet.
That pupper. Um, the belief that you hold underneath it, right? That and like this is kind of I love that idea of looking at your systems as kind of looking at your beliefs and the
Hmm.
things that motivate you whether or not you realize it, right?
Yeah.
Um, and I don't know, I really love the example you gave of just like not doing it. Like that's like sometimes that can be you'd think that that would be the most minimal effort that you could do is just stopping yourself, but
Uh-huh.
it's like sometimes it's the hardest thing you can do, but it's the thing you need to do, you know, which is like and that's great because like it's something that I believe in really strongly, like you said, that whole like let them figure it out for themselves because otherwise they're 18 years old living on their own and figuring out how to problem solve
Uh-huh.
with other people for the first time.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that's when it matters. You know what I mean? Like a toy that they're fighting over, or how they play a game, or like whether they're fighting, you know, aliens or mutants. Like
Yeah.
isn't
Yeah,
like
totally.
for them it's important, but it's not consequential in a way that's like, you
And
know,
yeah, it's a safe place to learn
yeah,
a skill or a tool, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's very interesting that when we examine our systems, we examine how we interact with people around us as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
And I will say like I casually mentioned this, but like one of the, and this shows up in if for anyone who's done any like 12-step work or like through Al-Anon and stuff like and other things, it's like it shows up there too a lot. Like it's reminding me, taking me back, back in the day when I was involved in that. Like people don't always initially respond positively when I would change, you know, when one would change. This is, you know, and that like because it's different, like you're changing how things work
yeah.
in a family or in a group. And so I definitely feel that. Like I'll make a change that's better for me. And then there's this kind of pushback, you know? And I think of it like gravity, right? It's like everything just wants me to go back to the way I was because that feels
Yeah.
like it's easier. But in
Yeah.
the long run, this is better for all of us.
Hmm.
Um, and
Yeah.
it's yeah. So yeah. And I just also want to bring up too that in my studies and my training, like this is a very common experience, like having a hard time setting boundaries, just to put that word on it, having
Hmm.
a hard time knowing what your boundary would even be and
Yeah.
setting it and understanding all the beliefs around that. It's really, really common for ADHDers and for autistics, for people that are used to a lot of negative feedback
Hmm.
about the way we do things. And so several of us have developed these like almost like hyper vigilant or hyper caring
Yeah.
coping systems,
Yeah.
right? And so then to do something that feels like it's just for self, is really hard. Um, and you in your example too, I can even see that like yours is not just for self, right? It has this bigger picture
Yeah.
around it. And people in your life could be like, I don't want to do that,
Yeah.
like, or no, I want to go out to eat, like that's what we
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's true for you. I'm just saying
Yeah.
hypothetically,
No, it's
you know,
totally.
and
Yeah.
it's like even that change I can imagine that could be,
Hmm.
and then like, yeah, there's just like a line.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like from that comes from that. So it can be,
Yeah.
it can be a hard thing to do. Just, yeah.
Totally. I agree. And it's like, um, these old systems have a lot of inertia,
Hmm.
and oftentimes the deepest and hardest to change are ones that are built out of survival.
Yeah.
Um, and
Even at one point, even
so,
if they're not survival based anymore, right? Yeah, sorry.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But
Yeah,
you
they were
have your
developed.
mind is still like, no, we can't change this. This is how we live.
Yeah.
Um, and uh, it's so deeply ingrained because it's a survival mechanism. It's a system that helped you, you know, control how things went when things were in chaos, or be valued, which meant you were loved or
Yeah.
felt secure or, felt or belonged or whatever, in a way that a lot of the times it felt like it was a hard time to belong because you felt different than other
Hmm.
people.
Hmm.
Not you specifically, but one,
Yeah.
but like,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I
that's
know
a
what
really
you're
good
like.
observation.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Well, good.
Yeah, awesome.
So connected, but also new and interesting, is our topic today. And this one is very timely for Cheryl and I. We kind of picked the time. It's been on our list, but we picked to do it now, because of our class that just ended. So today we wanted to talk about um, improv
Mhm.
and kind of just our experiences with improvisational theater and why this has been I think, an overall positive force in both of our lives. And we just finished a 7 week class, which if you're in Seattle with Jet City Improv, and I will drop their name because they are a nonprofit that do a lot of good work in a lot of different ways, and their classes are really good. So we just finished that class. So it's kind of fresh on our mind. So we're going to dive in and talk about the pros and the cons of our experience at this improv class and kind of make some connections to greater states of being and um, yeah, and what we're going to do with that going forward.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Do you feel like going first or do you want me to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go
Sweet.
first. Let's see. Where do I start with improv? But that feels apt. Um, I love improv as an ability. I think that as an ability, as a art form, as just anything, it it feels so right to me and my brain. Um, because I do everything last minute anyway, so I'm improving all the time. But like it just there's a way that kind of focuses in with improv and like the idea that when you're really flowing and in the zone, you're not things are happening. Like like your brain is just working. It's not, it's very like almost subconscious a little bit. Like how it's just like, oh, this is what I'm doing. This is how I'm being. I'm just reacting, but in a really positive way. And like once you build up those skills, you can really lean on those skills a lot. Um, and the class was amazing. Um, it was truly, I don't know. I love performing. And so and a performance, I don't have a good memory. So doing something like memorizing a script or something like that is not really in my ability to do. I get too caught up in my head about things. So improv is always really, really refreshing for me. And I'm so grateful to do the class. And then to also, on top of that, for free, when you do a class, you also get shows for free. Um, and so we were able to go to a show and like just being out there and like the interaction with the audience in improv is very strong and like the play just is it was one of the biggest pros um is the play that you get to do. It's about, they're saying that there's no cringe in improv or whatever. It just lets you kind of be and especially when you're with a group that's got your back a little bit, which we had a phenomenal group. That just it felt so safe to take big swings with. Because it was just so supportive. It was just like if it went flat, like the other people in that you're acting off of would just like step in and it would be fine, like or redirect or whatever in a way that felt so natural. Um, so yeah, it just was really cool to like have that space to play. And another pro was as being a former nanny, I'm not a nanny anymore, and so that improvisational play that I would do with kids all the time, where it was like yes-anding their creativity and stuff like that, and them sometimes yes-anding and sometimes going off a different direction or whatever. It just was like, I think I was really missing that in my life. Um, and then for me, the cons with it was it really triggered my RSD. So I had to spend a lot of um, energy redirecting thoughts around things. Oh, the teacher set a reminder for everybody in the class. She must be trying to remind me specifically because I must have messed up, and then my brain will go into, well, what did I do here and what did I do there? Oh, I have to remember to do that, and then I just need to be like, no. I mean, even if that's the case, so what? We're at an improv class that's we're not I'm not taking it for credits or anything, you know what I mean? Like this doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. I mean, it does in a way, but it doesn't too. Like this is the place to play. And so it was just really good to like to just hold that space, and then talk with you about it too, Claire, on one of our days, and being like, you being like, I had no idea that that was going on in your head. I had no clue. And I was like, yeah, kind of just, it's a background kind of thing, that tape that plays a lot, that I have to just be like, okay, is this legitimate, like, feedback that my brain is giving me, or is this the RSD? And I need to just like stop, like back off, and and tell it to shut the hell up. I'm having fun. Leave me alone. you know. So yeah. Yeah. I think the pros are the play and the fun and the, enjoyment and the interaction, and the cons are that it's something for my RSD sometimes. Um, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, great. We'll chat about that in just a second. I I think I had to really think about why, or I have been continuously thinking about why I'm so into it. I know why I got into it. And I'll talk about that in just a second, but it's like, why is this working for me so much? Because I
Mhm.
have, well, until we went to D&D Prov, that performance, then I was like, ooh, I could do this. I have like zero interest in performing. Like I
Yeah.
have zero interest in being like in a show, in a comedy show and performing. And so at first glance, that might seem weird about, okay, so why are you such like, I'm almost like an improv evangelist to use that word. Like I really, really love it. And I try to get other people into it. So I went into it for several reasons. I have kind of a background through my graduate study a long time ago at Antioch about there were a lot of people at that time doing like improv as organizational development tools. Like, how do you use this with teams of people? So I was kind of like grounded in that and had had some training in that. But it'd been a while, and I used it at my past job. Some people loved it. Some people were like, it can be really uncomfortable if you're not expecting it. Um, but I really went into it for like through like a role play gaming lens,
Mhm.
right? Because this is something that I is high on my special interest list and has been for a while. And so I was like, oh, it'd be really great to have some more experience here, right? To be able to do that in a good way. And and so that's why I went into it. But what I found when I was there was that I think the real reason why it was a positive thing for me, and I love it, is like the flat out expectation, and you talked really well about rejection sensitivity and why this could be different, but the spoken, so literal, very literal, right? The spoken um, point of the whole thing is to have fun and to move your body in weird ways.
Mhm.
And it's like both of those are exactly what I need. Exactly what I need. I I've spoke before in this podcast, but I'll say it again, like large body movements are incredibly calming for me.
Mhm.
And they have been socially largely programmed out, right? And so being in a situation where like you could do a really, really silly walk and make goofy noises, and then everyone's going to do it with you is just like it just really suits my way of being in so many ways. Um, and like I I don't feel weird at improv. In fact, folks are like out weirding me, and it's so fabulous. There's like I'm like on the low end of weird sometimes, for the most part. I always feel like sometimes I feel a little weird, but just because of my interest. But there's just it's like, okay, this is the norm, is to do silly things with your body and
Mhm.
say what comes to mind. Um, and yeah, so oh my gosh, just like it just really, really fits. And whether or not I ever do any performance or not, I don't even need that. I just need the practice of it. And I think it is somewhat why I like the gaming, but the gaming doesn't include the gaming. It has all the mental stuff, of like all the creative and the mental stuff, but it doesn't really have the physical stuff, how I currently play. Maybe I need to figure out a way to bring that in. Maybe that's my challenge. But yeah. So as far as cons for me, so I have the benefit of I actually took the 101 class twice. And so I noticed a big change in myself. I don't think I experienced things quite as you've explained, um, but I think sometimes I would get a little judgmental of self and get a little down. And then and then a lot of times like I do really have a hard time. So I do like there's a thing we do at the end of every class where you do like rock star moments and share all the amazing things that happened during class. And there is like as they are happening, I am so happy and I'm enjoying and I'm really appreciating all these people around me. But the second that I'm asked, everything that happened just is gone from my mind, right? And that happens in several different contexts. Like, what movies do you like? Let's set it in a movie. And a lot of times lately, I immediately cannot ever remember watching a movie in my whole life. And so that's not just improv thing, but that's like a little bit frustrating for me. Like I feel like that has just like increased. Like I used to have better recall. And so I guess it's just like making me face that a little bit.
Hmm.
That, oh, right now, I need to not get into like catastrophic thinking that I will never remember anything again. Like this that could be true, but it could also not be true. It could be a result of kind of where I'm at right now in this stage of my life. So it was a little bit um it's a little challenging in that way, as I found myself really wishing I could remember what happened 30 minutes ago so I could tell the person how awesome they are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. That was awesome.
Yeah, what what
Um,
what came up for you?
yeah, so um the one of the things I did like about we had like a visiting substitute uh um teacher
Hmm.
for it, and one of the things that they did was um ask what went well right after the
Mm,
the thing that we did, and I really liked that because I could remember that
yeah, yeah,
right after because we were like and it gave you immediate feedback
yeah,
from your peers, and that really helped
I
like
agree.
cement
Yeah.
things in your head.
Hmm.
Um and and then everyone gets kind of their own rock star moment because everyone's talking about what just happened with a small group of people.
True. Yeah, because rockstar moments can kind of feel isolating too, like if you're not getting mentioned,
Yeah,
and yeah. And it's not necessarily that you didn't do anything good. It's just like it's hard to track, if we're
yeah,
all having that experience. Yeah,
yeah,
I did have that feeling too, like, oh,
yeah, yeah. So it was good. And I know exactly what you meant with that. That was hard for me. I have the exact same thing, but I've always had that same thing. Anytime anyone asked me something, I was like, deer in the
I have
headlights.
no
I
idea.
have no, people always, whenever I go to work, or something like that, people will be like, "How was your weekend?" And I was like, "Good." I'm like, I don't know what happened. I don't remember. I have amnesia about my life. I have no clue. Give me like a minute and I can, if it's like natural in conversation, then I can bring it up. Like if it's attached to different things, but if it's
Yeah,
just like a floating out in the middle of nowhere, I have to be like, I don't know what I did this weekend. And it could be something huge,
yeah,
went
yeah.
to Geek Girl Con or something like that. And then I'm like, it's just,
Immediately gone. Yeah.
immediately my brain is like clunk, 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 clunk,
Yeah, that's a good point about like quicker feedback, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I really like that point. Um and then talking about like the movement, it
Hmm.
was really, really nice. like we were all like at the beginning, we all like stretched and limbered up and did all of this stuff because we're going to be moving our bodies.
Yeah.
And like our teacher said something that was really cool where it's like sometimes your body knows what to do even when your brain doesn't. And
Uh-huh.
it'll just do something and then you're like, all right, here we go,
Yeah,
like
right. The whole
going
activity where
over.
you start with, okay, now lead with a different body part, like what would it
Yes.
be like to just walk with your hand first, or what if your stomach is first? Or
Yes.
yeah, like just let your body do the thing first and then find
Yeah.
the words around it.
And then
Yeah.
also like locate building your location with
Hmm.
your bot, right? Like so you're making a thing and you're playing on it and then you're
Yeah.
doing this over here and you're over
And
here
when
doing things.
and when do you hang out with a bunch of adults and it's totally cool to crawl around on the floor or lay
Yeah.
on the floor?
Yeah.
Like it's just totally fine. Someone's flopping around on the floor, and it's like that's fine.
Well, that's why I
There's
became
like
a nanny
no, yeah,
because
yeah.
I
There's
was
no
like,
other situation with
yeah,
adults.
yeah,
Maybe dance, maybe dance, but
yeah,
yeah. Other than that, awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, and I really like when you're talking about just like flow and in the zone too. And one of the things we would do sometimes is like a quicker, like
yeah.
she would encourage us to move a little quicker, and because it turns off the thinking part of your brain and
Hmm.
just the reactive part, and how well that worked
Yeah.
for everyone, and everybody
Yeah.
was like on it and doing funny things, and like and then you sometimes you just mess up and everybody almost loves that as much. Like I
Yeah.
feel like some of the mess ups were like the most endearing moments, you
Yes.
know?
Yes.
Um
That's
and
when
then
the funny came out
yeah,
too.
and then like seeing sides of people that you would have never known. Like if I would have just known any other of these people for 7 weeks and just seeing, I'm thinking of one person in general where his humor, like he would just say things in a scene and I was like, you're hilarious. I would have never known that about you in this
Yes.
short a time. It would have probably taken, I would have had to become your friend and hang out with you for a year
Yeah.
before, I'm
Yeah.
exaggerating, but you know what I mean?
But
Yeah.
yeah, it's true, right? Like there's
Hmm.
an intimacy that you get into when you're doing performance as an art, but also doing improv in particular,
Yeah.
because it's like it's the we're taught that you have to think so hard about what you do and say before you do and say it, especially in the world right now. I think is just
If only. Yeah. I'm joking.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, be careful what you think or
Sure.
say or do or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
And that's appropriate, right? When you're
Yeah.
at work, you don't do improv at work. Like, right? Like, I mean, in certain
Unless you're doing
cases.
it in, yeah, like in a
Yeah.
container. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like, be careful of what you say. Be careful of the jokes you make. Because some of the jokes we made at improv were, you wouldn't make them other places, but you'd make them at improv and everyone's cool with it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
And we scaled them up, right? In the beginning, it was like, this is all PG. And then
mhm,
they're like, okay, is everybody ready to move to PG-13? If you're not,
that's fine.
that's
It's
okay.
good. Yeah.
Yeah. My
Yeah.
last class, there was like quite a death thing. We talked a lot more about death for whatever reason, but this one, not so much. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think if we can, so usually like the next step is we kind of talk about the balance or living with paradox. And I think
Yeah.
and if it's okay with you, you can still talk about that, of course.
Yeah.
But I would love to talk about how do you have intention to carry this forward?
Hmm.
Or what is your going to be your connection to improv?
Yeah. Um, so I one of the things I realized with this is that I need an outlet for performative things.
Yeah,
Um, and so, when we play D&D or do something like that, it's an outlet I get to have.
she's so good, everyone. But anyway, keep going.
Oh, right back at you.
So good.
But yeah, like when we play D&D or when we do whatever, it's like my ability to perform. I think this has really helped that become more mm, natural. Um, it allows me to take bigger swings with a
Hmm.
character and then really like physically, emotionally, whatever, embody that character, right? And then the improv part is being able to act off somebody else.
Yeah.
Because that's what D&D is. It's basically
Yeah.
improv.
Yeah.
So it's like just a lot of fun to be able to do that. And then I think also um, integrating myself a little bit more in a artistic community of some sort, whether that's going to shows or
Hmm.
doing whatever, I've been Googling and looking around at different things about improv and where that can
Yeah.
go. And so I think that was something that I really took out of it was that I need that performative space somehow. I
Hmm.
need to have a place to act and be somebody else for a little while, and
Yeah.
have that kind of space. And it doesn't have to be in front of an audience. It just does like play in that way. Um, different voices, different body, holding my body differently, different mindsets that I get to explore, and all of that. So yeah. Um, so that's something I'm definitely gonna bring with me. Um, and then I think this one gave me an idea of what kind of community I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just a group of people. I need a group of people who are going to jump in,
Yeah.
um, who are ready to who believes, who just has their space. They're not looking to somebody else to go first. They're not looking, they want to be here. They want to jump in. They want to exist in this space. And I feel so spoiled with the group that we had. Because they just were like, yeah, we're all in.
Yeah.
We're all in. We're not, we're here, we're doing it, we're all in. And so it gave me hope that if I join a community, it's not like my job to drag people along in the community or to, create things, or people don't just look to me and are like, Cheryl, you'll know what to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
it was just nice being in this community with a bunch of equals
Yeah.
who all were ready to do the thing,
Yeah.
you know?
So well
Um,
said. Yeah.
yeah. So I think that's something that's carrying through with me is my performance, understanding what I need out of a community that I want to be part of, and um uh yeah, being able to just like have space for that art that is very physical
Hmm.
in nature.
Hmm. Yeah, I thanks for expressing that in that way too. Like I really deeply relate to what you're saying about like how sometimes it's a compliment, right? That other folks want you to be the organizer or me to be the
Yeah.
organizer, right? And but it quickly turns into an obligation and a weight for me at least. And it sounds like that's kind of what you were saying too, is like I don't want to be in charge. I really don't. Like even if I have like an in charge kind of personality, like I don't want to be in charge. I want to be part of a group where everybody's in charge. And that can
Mhm.
be really hard, but this is an example where it works well. Um, yeah, that was really like simple but super profound. You talking about that. I really appreciate that. Um, I I think I will probably continue to take classes, just because I do really well under structure. That's the other thing I didn't say earlier that I want to say really quick is that improv is a really fabulous combination of structure and flexibility, right? It's not just like, okay, there's 20 people in a room, do whatever you want. Like you're given like a container, here's a game, a specific game you're going to play, right? Someone's going to be late for work. They don't know why they're late for work. These people are going to be acting it out and they're going to be trying to figure out why they're late for work. Like you're given parameters to work within, right? And so it's that classic like art flourishes under constraint model, right? Is there has to be some constraints. So yeah, so I think I'll probably keep taking some classes. I am trying to organize some more role play gaming, but I'm running up against like the scheduling nightmare of trying to schedule adults. But I've tried playing with a good friend of ours and her kids. I played Shadow Dark, but I played a fully improvised one. So I didn't plan anything ahead
Yeah.
as a person running the game, and I just utilized they have tables that you can roll on.
Yeah.
Um, and so I'm really thinking about doing like an adult version of that. Um, so if anybody's watching this in real time, feel free to reach out to me. We do have a server where we organize role play gaming that we'd be happy if you wanted to join. Um, so I think, yeah, I think I'll keep taking classes as much as I can just to to make sure it doesn't drift off in my sea of interests. Um, and then and then finding some good ways um, to bring that back into the gaming community. And then I'm really just pondering too. I said in my share earlier, like I'm not physical in my gaming. Why the hell not? I think it's because nobody else is, but like, okay, like so I'm gonna kind of think about that too and see if there's a way that I want to like bring that in to characters and stuff, is bring some sort of physicality in. So yeah, I think that I will I will experiment with that too. Oh, and there's one other thing I wanted to mention. I realized too, like I am, and this is always really hard for me to admit, but I'm like not a humor-based person.
Yeah.
I like humor. I like, but I don't know. I think I'm very lighthearted and childlike, but I'm also really serious and like to dig in. So I think that's another thing about this. This is really interesting. Like if it's comedy for comedy's sake, sometimes I'm like, eh. If it's comedy nested in something I like,
Hmm.
then I love it. So I just think about that too. Okay. I have some ideas for an experiment, but it's pretty loose. Do you have anything you want to propose, or should I just go
Go
for it?
for it. I'll add. Oh, yes,
Yeah,
and you.
I think, yeah, I love it. We didn't even talk about that, but that's kind of what everybody talks about around improv, so it's good. Um, I think what I would like to do is it's a little bit of a tangent, but folks, of course, could take it in any direction that they want. Um, what are the spaces where you don't feel weird?
I like it.
What are the spaces where it's the kind of community that you're looking for? And if the answer to both of those questions is I don't know, that makes a lot of sense that that would be your first answer. And so then the experiment becomes, you know, at a minimum, just starting to think about it, maybe write about it, make art about it, whatever. Um, and then maybe trying some out if you're feeling adventurous. Or even like as a voyeur, like going and watching people do. If you're like, oh, improv's interesting, but I don't know. Like maybe I'll just go watch people do it, but I'm not ready to do it myself. So that's kind of where I'm landing, is exploration on those two like core concepts we talked about.
Yeah. And I think the other thing that kind of goes along with that sometimes um is looking at where you hit flow.
Yeah.
That flow state. So I mean keeping that in mind while you do that too. And um but oftentimes if you can hit flow, you're not thinking about if you're weird or not.
Yeah. So maybe it's
Um
like, yeah, where you feel in flow with community, right?
yeah. So I think I like the idea of where you don't feel weird
Hmm.
because I think that that's a really succinct and because we all need places like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Uh,
I'm all for weird. You know that. But like I'm all for that. But it's like that I'm just like that feeling where you feel
yeah,
othered by the way that you are. So
yeah, yeah. That sounds great.
cool. All right. Well, good.
Awesome.
Well, let's go ahead and wrap this up with just chatting with where can we find you?
Yeah, CherylTheNanny.com.
Nice. And you can find all my stuff at Linktree/Wizards Way. And we'll put some links today below too for the other things that we've talked about if we had that. Or maybe you can reach out if you're interested in role play gaming. I also will say if you're watching this within it's March. It's March now. March of 2026. If you're watching this within the next 4 months, even, I am going to start a book club on neuroqueer heresies that's very related to this podcast. So I'd love to have anybody that watches our podcast join, and you could join late to
Yeah,
that too. So reach out if you're interested in that as well. So,
awesome.
all right. Thanks
All
so
right.
much.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.